Sell expensive stuff to wealthy people. Now, this is something that you've probably heard from some of the most famous business mentors across the world. And it's something that I actually didn't realize until I started working and applying it to my own business. So for those of you who don't know me, I run my own real estate advisory firm, helping high-net-worth individuals buy property in central London. And not only that, we also help them with their lifestyle decisions, whether it is finding their dream home, whether it's finding private schools for their children, and everything else that comes with lifestyle curation. Now, growing up, I never actually worked with wealthy clients. I just worked with your average client who was looking for your average investment deal. And although that paid the bills, it wasn't something that was sustainable that I enjoyed doing. Because often with these type of clients, they were more headache, they don't pay on time, and they have every little thing to complain about. When I switched my model to working with wealthier clients, I saw more reliable and higher payments. There was less stress, and it was something I actually loved and enjoyed doing, and hence why I do it still till today. Now, for everyone that's watching, whether you're in consulting, real estate, a service-based business, I truly recommend working with wealthy clients. So I want to go through why I think it is the best thing to do and how I apply these principles to my business. Now, one of the most important things I've realized whilst working with these clients is the difference between people that are problem aware and solution aware. Now, problem aware are often clients who are the lower paying clients. They know that something is wrong in their life, but they don't know how to fix it. Now, solution aware is someone that knows what the problem is, and they know what they want their outcome to be, and they know that you're the right person to actually fix their solution. So they're willing to pay anything to make it happen. And I always give this prime example. If you're charging someone who's got £5,000 to their name, £2,500 for your service, that's literally half of their net worth. Whereas if you're charging someone who's got £1 million to their name, only £10,000, that's only a fraction of their net worth. And the really cool thing about this is that it can literally be the exact same service with just different positioning. And this is the thing, money can be spent from two different points of view. One from scarcity and one from abundance. And what I realized whilst working with clients who are spending from an abundance point of view, they don't care about the nitty gritty. Although you should still deliver an exceptional service, they just trust you as an advisor because their decision making is made before they purchase. And once they purchase, they trust you as the right person to deliver the service for them. Whereas a client who now has spent their last penny, every little thing they'll be messaging you, calling you, and trying to get an answer for. Because they're so dependent on this thing working, it's going to make them a lot more anxious. Now think back to yourself when you made your most expensive purchase. I'm assuming you were probably terrified, anxious, and even potentially regretting your purchase, seeing if you can get a refund. Now in comparison, think about when you go to the shops and just buy yourself a random coffee. You have a less personal attachment to that because it's a lot more easier for you to afford it. I'm sure that even if you didn't like it, you probably just go to the shops and buy another one. And that's because of the emotion that you have with what you are purchasing. Business owners and high-net-worth individuals often see these purchases as a business expense, something that's tax deductible, something that's just seen as a calculated bet. Now, they're not dependent on this particular thing working, but something that if it works, beneficial. If not, they're going to learn from it. In comparison to the other clientele who, if this doesn't work, their life is over. That's why you've got to be very careful as to who you're going to be targeting. So initially I was targeting beginners who wanted to get their first property. So I charged them a sourcing fee of £3,000 to find their dream property. Then I realized what was happening is that when we had to do add-ons or the build came a little bit higher than expected, they weren't in a position to carry on. In comparison with my clients right now, I charge even a £3,000 deposit just to onboard them. And then I charge them 2% of the purchase price. They pay the £3,000 almost in seconds because to them it's something that is very essential at this level. And when it comes to the 2%, even if it's of a large property valued at £1 million plus, because that's what we tend to work with, they're still paying it. And that's because they see that we have the expertise and that is time and money saved, so they're happy to pay the price. Now, on topic of service delivery, you also get two different outcomes when it comes to working with these different types of clientele. And what I've tended to see with clientele who are at the lower end is that they're normally purchasing from a point of view of wanting me to hold their hand throughout the whole journey. Every single day, every single hour, they want a phone call, they want updates. They just want you to be present at all times. The wealthier clients often understand that you're an expert, so they actually trust your decision making. They might just want an update every single week. As long as you're providing your service and they can see their results and their progress, they're happy with that. They're not going to be pestering you every single second, seeing what has happened, because they trust that they've actually paid the right person to deliver what they want as their ideal outcome. So if you are someone who's built that brand, think how can you position yourself in a way that, number one, attracts these wealthy individuals, and how can you now deliver a service that they can actually see you as a trusted advisor? Because once you get that one wealthy client, more of them will come, and that will now allow you to build a long-term sustaining business. Now let's talk about the numbers. Now everyone has different goals in their life, but also working with wealthy clients can actually help you achieve your goals a lot quicker. Now let's look at this practically. Let's say your company has a goal of making £1 million a year. If you're now working with a client where you're charging £1,000, you now have to get 1,000 people just to buy your product to make £1 million. And if you're even at the lower end at £100, you have to now work with 10,000 people just to make your £1 million. In comparison, if your product or service is, let's say, £20,000, you only have to work with 50 people, which is around 4 people per month, to actually achieve your goal of £1 million. A lot easier when it comes to service delivery, and a lot higher when it comes from the outcomes. And lastly is the refund rate. Now, when working with clients who are at the lower end of the market, you often see a larger amount of refunds. Now, this isn't an indication to your service, it's more so an indication to their need or desperation for them to get their money back. In comparison, when it comes to wealthier clients, they're only ever going to refund you if you generally haven't provided a good service. And even with that, they're usually open to a resolution that benefits both sides because they're here for the long-term relationship rather than just to get their money back. So there's a very clear difference when it comes to working with these type of clientele. And that's why I think it's very important when you're looking to develop a lean, profitable business to actually adopt these principles. Now, I've made it clear, working with wealthy clients is less stress, higher margins, and easier to deliver. Now let me talk to you about how I've actually done this and how you can apply this to your property business. So number one is becoming a specialist. Now, wealthy people often pay for something because they haven't got the time or the knowledge. And so if you can position yourself as expertise, they can actually signal to them that you are someone that they can actually trust with their funds. Now for me, as a wealth advisor for the ultra rich in central London, I position myself as an expert. I position myself as an expert knowing the right areas, why they should buy in the right areas, and what comes with it. And I've been able to display that through my knowledge, through my content, and through my discussions with them. Now, when you position yourself as an expert, they'll be in a queue for you. And there's a really good book I recommend called Key Person of Influence by Daniel Priestley. And it essentially speaks about how you can develop your personal brand to a point where you actually attract your ideal clientele. You've got to understand what are their pain points, what are their goals, and what is the common mistakes that they make when looking for something that your service actually provides a solution for. Now, if you can now provide content and advice around these key concepts, you've now positioned yourself as an expert and they'll be queuing up to work with you. Now, one thing I really love about working with these type of clientele is that they actually have a network which can now be your new point of referral. So if you now deliver a great service to one of them, repeated customers will come to you just from delivering that great service. So for any of you who've got a business right now, think about how can you position yourself as an expert. Position yourself as an expert and stick to that one lane of focus, because often when it comes to patterns and they see that you'll do one thing and then another thing the next day, they're not going to see you as an expert. They're going to see you as someone that's chasing many different avenues. But if you're someone that has been fixated into one thing for a long period of time, they're going to trust you with their funds. Next, I'll say signaling and proximity to what they are used to. Now, let me explain. With a lot of wealthy clients, they have regular patterns. They attend the similar type of restaurants, similar type of areas, private members clubs. They work with a certain type of bank. You position yourself in proximity to these will actually allow them to feel safe with you as an advisor. I'm going to give you a very practical example. I've had a lot of clients who work at one of the most prestigious private banks in the world. I started to notice that, so I decided to build my network, my LinkedIn and my connections around these type of individuals, people who are managing directors and partners at these wealthy banks. Now, what I noticed that over a period of time, as I was developing my network and my connections, I was seeing I was having a lot of mutuals with these wealthier clients. And by product of association, they started taking me more serious because they realized that if I'm actually in proximity in these banks, with these rooms, with these directors, I must be someone of substance. They don't necessarily do their due diligence through making 100 calls and getting on a sales call with you. They do it by just observing what areas you're in, how you're conducting yourself, who are you in proximity to. And that's not going to be a very big influence as to why they're actually going to work with you. And let me give you another example applied to my business in the real estate industry. Now, previously we had an office in Canary Wharf, and for those who don't know London, Canary Wharf was a very nice and prestigious area. However, what we realized is that within prime central London, where we focus on, Canary Wharf isn't really seen as a hub for. So what I did was I changed my business to Mayfair, and that's when I opened up my office in Mayfair. And since opening up our office in Mayfair, when we're just in rooms with certain clientele or with their advisors, we instantly gain their respect because we've positioned ourselves in an area which they're familiar to. And they're now thinking, for us to have an office in Mayfair, we must be someone who is credible. And that was a very strategic decision I made, because although it may cost a lot more, it's something that's going to pay dividends in the long run. So again, apply that to your business. Think, what rooms can you be in and what people can you associate yourself with, which is now going to allow you to actually develop that proximity to these wealthier clients. Now, thirdly, I would say it's actually removing friction from the purchase. One thing I've noticed with a lot of individuals when they're now building out their businesses is that they have so many funnels. Just for them to talk to you as the founder, you need their name, their email, their number. You need 100 different points of contact. You need to have a sales call with one of the advisors. If you're someone that's trying to deliver a very high-end service, You got to get out of the mindset of just having it as everything is delegated, because if you are the face of the brand, a lot of times they're going to be buying into you. So for example, with myself and my property business, I often know that a lot of these founders want to speak to me because the person that may refer them, whether it's their private bank, their lawyer, or one of their friends, have experienced me at first hand. So now if I had funnels and said that you have to now speak to my right hand, my advisor, and book a call, and it'll be too complicated. But often it's just like, okay, cool, here's his name, here's his WhatsApp, we give him a call. And when I now call them, we started off with a more friendly relationship because they know that I'm not trying to sell to them. And that's one thing that's very, very important. Wealthy people hate getting sold to. They want to build a relationship first, and that will naturally lead to sales down the line. And that's one thing that's very important to distinguish the difference. So I've got two different types of businesses. I've got one that appeals to the low end of the market and one that appeals to the high end of the market. Now with my business that appeals to the high end of the market, there's absolutely no friction. You can literally call my personal number straight away. Now in comparison, my business that appeals to the low end of the market, you can't actually contact me. You have to go through my funnel, my team, an email, book a call, all before you speak to me. And that's because I want to create as much friction as possible so I can actually qualify the best leads. In comparison with the real estate business, where I understand that most of my leads will be already qualified, I need to remove friction. I just want to have conversations because they will not pay me dividends. Now lastly, which is the most important in today's times, is your visibility. And there's one thing being visible, but the second thing is being invisible on the right platforms. Now typically when it comes to appealing to the masses, TikTok is normally people's #1 channel, because with TikTok you can go viral in seconds and you can attract a mass audience. However, when it comes to working with wealthy clients, I'm not saying that they're not on TikTok. We've got to think, what platform will actually serve you best if you can double down on it? So for me personally, I've seen LinkedIn. Now for those of you who follow me on LinkedIn, every single day I'm literally posting on LinkedIn, showing proof, showing credibility, and showing my knowledge and my expertise. And this is something that's allowed me to enter rooms which I didn't even feel qualified to be in at the time. And I have a very simple strategy for it. Produce amazing content tailored to one specific niche and show myself an expertise, connecting with people who are working or who would work with my ideal clientele, and having a framework where I develop conversations with them, build trust, and now get on a call with them. Now this 3-step framework has led me to over £100 million worth of property inquiries in 2025 alone. And I'm not saying this to impress you, but I'm showing you the importance of this platform. And the thing I love about LinkedIn is that it's so low effort. For me to make a YouTube video, an Instagram video, I may have to now set up a camera, make sure that everything's looking good, have the right outfit on, and make it appealing to the audience. With LinkedIn, there's a lot less friction, a lot less effort, but the rewards I'll get for it would 100% outweigh the other platforms. Now, I know some people who work with higher end clients and they work as a YouTuber as their primary channel, and that is absolutely amazing because YouTube, you can actually nurture them at a larger, more in-depth scale, and that way it's going to be a lot easier for you to sell. Others are Instagram. All these platforms can work. It's just about choosing your 1 or 2 platforms and doubling down on it. I know that my ideal clientele is on LinkedIn, hence why I double down on it. On topic of visibility, something I touched on a little bit earlier is your networking events. So one thing I made sure is that I actually attend the right networking events with my ideal clientele, whether it's events with lawyers, with equity partners, with celebrities, with footballers, with their agents, with private bankers. Put myself in these rooms actually allow me to get exposed to the network, because a lot of times with these wealthy clients, you can't go to them directly. You have to go to their power or circle of trust. Ensuring I'm in these environments can now allow me to develop that relationship, and that can now build that trust. And the thing that I always say is that even if you don't do a deal today, you can now build a relationship for a long period of time, which can now benefit you a lot moving forward. So what's next? You've understood the difference between working with a client who are at the higher end and at the lower end of the market. And you understand the importance of actually delivering and building a brand that actually represents what you and your company are working towards. Next is action. So for everyone that's watching this video, I recommend using these principles and applying to your own business. How can you actually create a service that even scares you to put that price? So whatever your price is now, just put a 0 on the end of it. And I promise you, someone will actually pay it. I've seen people pay for everything. £3,000 a month for dog walkers and private chefs. They're paying for private jets. They're paying for business class. I've even seen a client who's rented a property next door to their primary residence for £15,000 a month, just so their son can't be in the same house as them. There's actually a lot of money out here if you choose to see it and be in a flow of money and opportunity. So whatever your business model is, apply these principles, create content and create a brand around these principles. Ensure your copywriting, your website all align with these principles. Now use your network and your referral system to actually now bring these clients towards you, deliver an amazing result for them, get proof and credibility, and that could be your next scalable business. Wealthy people don't just have to be celebrities, they don't just have to be public figures or athletes. They can be organizations, they can be founders. Literally there is money everywhere. As long as you apply this to your business, you now will understand that there's a lot of abundance out there, and this will actually allow you and force you to make a better product and service that can now serve these clients better. So if you're someone who has a real estate business and you're looking to work with more wealthy clients, then feel free to book a call with us below, and we can show you our exact structure that we use on LinkedIn using AI and using our systematic approach to actually attract these wealthy clients and sell these luxury £1 million deals. And if you're someone who's currently got over £1 million liquid and you need assistance with buying your next house, deciding where you want to live, then feel free to reach out to our private office and we'll help you design your ideal lifestyle. So I hope you guys all enjoyed this video, and let me know down below if you want more videos like this. Please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. I'll see you on the next one.